Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's your Kiwi Connection here, Kim07, and today we have another 280X unboxing. This time, it's the Dual X from Sapphire. On the front covered there by that AMD Never Settle bundle card. But this should be quite interesting. So this is the third Sapphire card I've done, and this is basically the whole lineup now. So we have the Dual X, which this is kind of like the base model. Per se. Then there is the Vapor X, which is the next one up, and then the Toxic, which is the next one up from that. So it's all quite interesting. Obviously this is a very different box. This is a skinnier box. I seem to be running into that a bit lately, compared to, it's as long as the normal one, but it's not as wide. And they generally don't have as much packing in them, so there's that. But anyways, that's what it says around the back. It just says about the GCN architecture. Obviously the 28nm Tahiti GPU, same as all the other 280Xs, and the 7970. And Dual X, so it means it has the two-fan design, so not like the Toxic with the triple fan. And we'll jump in. Where on earth? Oh, there we go. I wasn't sure where I left my little pocket knife. There we go. Get the tag off the top. So in terms of the increments and these jump up, so we have this, the Dual X, which is at 1020 megahertz on boost on the GPU. Next one up is the Vapor X, that's at 1070 megahertz on the GPU. And then the next one up after that is obviously the Toxic, the top card. And that's running at 1150 megahertz on the GPU, and it's the same thing with the memory. So you're seeing 6000 megahertz on the memory on the Dual X. Then of course the 200 megahertz. Oh, you're quite stuck in. There we go. 200 megahertz jump up to the Vapor X at 6200, and then another 200 megahertz jump up from the Vapor X to the Toxic, which is at 6400. So let's get right into it. Open it up. As I told you, there's not much pack. Phone fell at the top. There's not much packing in this compared to the other ones, except that from packing on the top, which fell out. Anyways, onwards. So we have a driver CD. We have a little warranty card. Quick install guide. This is a product registration card, and that's about it. So we will put them away, and we will get into. I'll pull the graphics card up. There's actually more accessories underneath. Okay, so we get a Molex to 6-pin adapter, Crossfire bridge, and Molex to 8-pin adapter. So not as much packing in this, and it doesn't come with an HDMI cable, which I really like that Sapphire does on the other ones. So obviously this is the base model, so you don't get as much accessories, and packaging isn't as nice and all that, but we'll have to see how the card performs. And here it is. So the first thing I noticed straight away compared to the other ones is obviously it doesn't seem anywhere near as big in terms of the heat sinks and that. So from what I gather, the main difference between this card and the Vapor X is that the Vapor X obviously runs those different heatsink designs with the vapor chambers, where this one's a bit more standard. And I think the Vapor X runs different fans on it too. But the Vapor X has a lot more beefy heat sinks on them, so that's quite interesting. And a different, obviously this one doesn't have a backplate as well. Compared to the Vapor X, 280X, and the Toxic, which do have them. And we'll just pull off all this plastic here. I'll show you guys that. So, yeah, it looks a bit different, but I don't know. I think it still looks decent in its own way. It won't have the light here that the Vapor X does, and it obviously doesn't have the backplate, but it has a kind of similar color scheme as the Vapor X in a lot of ways, with this sort of black and grey look to it. So that's still quite good. Anyways, jump around. Everything's pretty standard here. So we have DVI-D, DVI-I, HDMI, and DisplayPort. jump around the top, and we see just standard 6-pin and 8-pin. As you can see, the card is quite thin, especially compared to the Vapor X, so that's interesting and good to know. At the bottom, it's not much there. You see two big heat pipes coming off that GPU heatsink there, so that'll probably do a decent amount of cooling, but yeah, that will be interesting to see how this performs compared to the Vapor X. And then around the back, there's not really too much to see. So we'll see how it stacks up. So far, Sapphire's made its lineup as it should. So the Toxic beat the Vapor X. So in theory, the Vapor X should beat this, and obviously then the Toxic should beat this also. But we'll have to see in our testing. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this card goes compared to the other two from Sapphire. And that's going to round out this video. So I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll catch you guys next time.